King William the Conqueror, who conquered England in 1066, the Battle of Hastings. I know a lot of you probably know the story of William the Conqueror and how he came over from ancient France, basically. And he thought that he had been promised the kingship of England by a dying relative, the king that had passed away just prior to the conquest. And there's going to be people like that in the future. John F. Kennedy. There'll be people like him in the future. You can almost draw parallels from people who are alive during our lifetimes, the greats and the bad ones too. They'll all still be around. We talk about World War I and World War II. Don't you think there's going to be a World War III, World War IV, World War V? And every one of them will be bigger and worse than the one before. But I think, with the help of artificial intelligence, that the cycle of destruction and building and destruction will end. And I think there will be a golden age for humanity in the future. I don't know how far off it is. It might be a long ways away yet. We're still a pretty brutal, primitive people at this point. I write about the future, and I see it as a wonderful place, not a terrible, dark place, but a wonderful place. And it's hopeful thinking. I hope it is a wonderful place someday. Just like in the H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, the time traveler, he had hoped that the future would be a golden time for human beings, that we'd know so many things and we'd have solved problems and got rid of racial strife, and nobody would judge their fellow man just because they went to a different church and worshipped a different God than they did, that there would be equality and opportunity for everybody. Try to stamp out bigotry and greed, and it'd just be a wonderful place. If you're familiar with the Time Machine, you'll recall that when he got to the future, he was really disappointed in the people in the future, that they had lost their fire, their drive, and they had become cattle for a stronger race of people that was actually using them for dinner. So it's just unforeseeable what's going to happen. I told you on one of my other video that I'm 71 years old and I've been writing. I've been working real hard on this latest story, the book, and it's because I have a personal love for old books. This book happened to have belonged to my grandfather, and I was named after him. And you'll see it says Lee Hanson in the year 1900 on the inside cover. Phenomena of Nature. Well, I didn't use this particular book in my latest story, the book. I used a different book that belonged to my grandfather called Earth, Land, and Sea. And it's also about unusual creatures that live in the ocean, unusual creatures that fly, unusual creatures that walk the earth, land animals. And you know, when you think about it, and look it up sometime, and you'll see that there's been hundreds of animals that have gone extinct in the last couple thousand years, even the last 1,000 years. The Tasmanian tiger, the buffalo was virtually taken down to almost extinction, and whales that are now extinct. And there's going to be more coming, a lot more. tropical birds that are going extinct by the dozen, and lizards and amphibians and other small creatures, fish. It's been happening for a long time too. When you look at the past, you can project into the future. And like the fishing, you think that the fishing problems are just something that's been the last 100 years, the last couple 100 years. The archaeologists say that the fishing system in Europe was stressed 2,000 and 3,000 years ago from all the people that were fishing in the rivers and using the rivers to transport logs and commerce and stuff like that. And overfishing destroyed all the rivers in Europe 3,000 years ago. I mean, long ago, a lot of ecosystems suffered tremendous damage. And, of course, we don't usually hear about that. We usually hear about, oh, well, the oil tanker smacked into the rock in some sea somewhere, and there's a beach and all kinds of aquatic birds that are covered in oil, like the Exxon Valdez disaster in Alaska about 30 years ago. So we're living in a dynamic time. And that's where I feel so lucky to be writing my stories now in this era. I'll never get rich as an author for published books, but I may be able to make a small mark on the internet and the World Web and have people that like to enjoy reading my weird stories. So I'd like to, in closing, I'd like to invite you to come on back again and listen to some of the things that I'll tell you about some of my stories. I went off on a tangent tonight because I just kind of felt like you might like to hear my opinion and a little bit of background information on me. But I'll try to stay on track next time, and we'll dive into one of my stories. I mentioned Aeolia, and I'll make some notes, and I'll introduce you to some of the characters, and we'll cover ground on that one, because that one is one of my longer. It's actually a book. I've written 4 or 5, maybe 6 books, and then several dozen short stories. I've had a lot of fun with it too. I can hardly wait to go back and get back to work writing. It's almost like reading the story, except when I'm not writing it and creating it instead. I've written some humorous stuff. One of them is a story of a laptop computer that is dropped on the floor and becomes sentient. And then the laptop computer becomes a private detective and has to use a human being as a foil to represent the laptop, but it's really the laptop who's the detective, and he does all the thinking, and the human is just sort of a laptop. So they've almost exchanged places. The human being has assumed the role of the laptop, and the laptop has assumed the role of the human being. So it was an opportunity, like 50 years ago, no one even knew what a laptop was. So that's what I was alluding to when I said that we live in this age where there's so much, so rich of an environment that we live in. It's unbelievable. So even if you don't come back, good luck to you, and try to go out and use all this technology to learn as much as you can. It's an exciting time to be alive. It's just the greatest. I wish I was 20 again instead of 71. But anyway, I'll have to end this now. God bless you, and thanks for coming by to see me. And I'm planning on coming out putting up a video every week so we can have a little chat. I know some of you will hear me for 20 minutes or half an hour and you won't come back because I'm really not your type of guy. And that's understandable. I feel exactly the same way. I watch somebody on a video and decide, he was okay for 15 minutes, but I won't be back. And so I understand that a lot of you are going to hear me and it's not going to really be your thing, But a few of you will, and I hope that I can at least entertain you guys off and on and be there every week for you to listen to me. And if you get tired of hearing the old guy talk, then there's a lot of other stuff on YouTube that you can watch that maybe you will find it interesting. So anyway, God bless you. Thanks for hearing me out tonight. And I'll be here next week, and I'll have a better plan developed, so maybe I can be a little more interesting than I was tonight. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.